Welcome back. Make it your mission to be kind and spread personal awareness. Today we're going to start with how important it is to value what we have. By being grateful and having appreciation for what we already have, it allows ourselves to perceive the future and the potential possibilities as so much more than otherwise. If we have a limiting mindset going through each day ungrateful, thinking that we are lacking and just not being aware of how much good things that we have. So today in our world, we live like kings compared to 100 or 200 years ago. Each citizen on average has so much more than a king would have in that past. So kind of think about that, and that should ring some sort of gratitude because we have technology, we have shelter, our phones are more powerful than the highest level computer of the past. There's so many things that have been advanced, and with these advancements, I'm not saying that our lives are easy. I know our lives are still hard, but they're challenging in a different way. Rather than lacking resources and the capability to create and survive, survival is much easier nowadays, and we actually have so many options. In the past, to survive, that was really all people could put their time into because life was so unadvanced. But the point is that we have so much, and with all of the things that are our possessions, it is easy to forget how much we have. So take a step back and go throughout your house or your room and appreciate all those little things that are overlooked every day. To have lights and computers, a full fridge, what else? Running water, the ability to shower and choose what temperature you want your water, that is something, it's simple and it's overlooked. But I'm trying to shift our mindsets because it's once you get into a mindset of I deserve, it's toxic. And then when bad things might happen or the world isn't perfect, because it's not going to be, everything is so much harder to handle when you're entitled or just viewing life as something that must come your way and you can't be wrong. You can't appreciate the goodness. You're always correct. That type of approach is going to make the simple things like sunsets, birds, nature, family, conversations, relationships, it will make those things seem irrelevant when in reality those are some of the most important things. And you ask that the richest people on this world, the most successful, or the people who are really living in a continuous state of enjoyment, it's the smaller things. Because once you get a certain amount of money, it doesn't make you happier. There's this perfect saying, and it is 100% true. Money solves a lot of problems until you're left with the problems that money can't solve. That is powerful. So when I talk in this way, people might get confused thinking that I'm saying go be a monk, go live in the woods, go cut yourself off from everyone, just be a tree hugger and that's all you need. No, I'm not saying that. We need community. We need the relationships. We need the physical and materialistic goods. Of course, like they're beneficial. They make our efforts more efficient. And it's nice to have, whether you have a drift car or a drag car or a track car. Cars are cool. I'm not saying don't work for your materialistic dreams. But the point is, we have so much that we must be grateful for. By shifting into the gratitude state of mind and thinking, everything just gets a bit better. And you'll notice that the days they're not easy, but they're easier when you appreciate the small things. And simply, I have 2 golden retrievers. It would be such a mistake for me to go through my life not appreciating those dogs. Because as you know, dogs live so much less of a life in longevity terms than humans. So what happens with humans is we go through distracted and we live each day so unable to enjoy the smallest aspects and appreciate the smallest everyday things that come the end of our physical life, we have regret. And regret is never good. It really isn't. So how can we, before we have regret, anticipate having that and prevent it? That is a solid idea that should be built upon. And what I've come to figure out is it is enjoying the smallest things, because when you don't, they just pass by and you don't even realize how important they are. Here's this interesting thing. If you weren't you, we would be jealous of ourselves. And that is interesting. Let's unravel it. I, in my house, have so many things that I've built and over time have turned into beautiful things. I'm talking specifically about my little gym. At first, it was one thing, then it was another thing, and then after time, everything compounds and your efforts grow into something that is so beautiful. We have to value the idea of compounding, because the best things, I promise, they don't happen overnight. They happen through consistent perseverance and not quitting, but continuing to be curious about what you don't know and continuing to reflect on areas that might be able to be improved. And this is, sometimes it's not fun, sometimes it's fun, but we have to do this. We have to stay consistent and go through when our emotions are telling us sleep in. It's interesting because they're saying sleep in, you're tired, you feel better when you sleep in. But if you sleep in all day or too late, you don't feel better anyways. So the brain plays so many tricks on us where we have to differentiate between the voices. Sure, getting up and going to bed on time is not fun, not easy, but why do I feel better when I go to bed early, wake up early, and get to the gym and read and journal and do all of these tasks that they're not fun, but after I do them, I feel better? That concept is very interesting. But look deeper into our natural interest. I want to talk about how powerful trusting your natural interest and your gut feeling is. In life, we all have so many similarities, but we're also so different. And it's prevalent because the media, and in general, it's easy to be divided. It's easy to say, oh, I'm this, he's that, we have nothing in common. Or to look at someone, I'm this, ew, I'm judging them. You know what I mean? We have to realize that our natural interest, whether people come from different environments or different areas where there's so many abstract things that keep us apart, but there's also going to be natural interests that keep us together. All humans need water. All humans benefit from exercise. All humans can learn from reading. We all want to show affection. We all want to be valued. We all have specific passions that are different for each one of us because our personality traits, we have so many different personalities. Someone could be more agreeable or more outgoing, or you know what I mean? There's so many different personality traits, and it's important for us to figure out what we can share with each other, what we can take from each other, because you have a specific value. No one is you. There's not a single other person on this planet who is the exact same. But there is so many things that we can learn and share with others, and by collaborating, we grow, we get better. Isolation is the enemy of excellence. So we have to team up and figure out how, sure, we don't all agree all the time. How can we reach a middle ground? How can your values and my values be put together in a manner that is healthy? Rather than dividing and, oh, we're so different, we can never help each other. That type of mindset is destructive. It ruins societies, and I see it happening in mainstream. That's why I'm so inclined to try my best to unite people in a manner that is beneficial for everyone. Maybe I wouldn't feel that way if I didn't have the opportunity to do this, but in this time, think about it. There's so much. We have the computers, the phones, the internet. It is easy, to spread your word and to let other people learn from you. And I'm always learning. What I'm speaking about now, sure, it's a passion of mine, but it also, when I talk, this is a whole conceptual process for me. It's not like I have a script. I'm not reading a fucking script. It is literally an active thinking process. And by talking about what I do and living by example, it reminds me I can't talk and help people if I'm not living what I'm preaching. So it's a accountability thing as well. Okay, so we have to find our natural interest, and let's get into really zoning how we pick what intrigues us. For my personal experience, this is kind of how my life has evolved. In community college, I was opposed to going into a 9-to-5 job because I realized the power of being self-educated. And for some reason, questions are very powerful. So this question came up: how do people become financially independent, where they can be self-employed, or you don't have to be essentially a slave for a corporation? So there's real estate and there's the stock market. And of course, there's becoming an entrepreneur. But I'm kind of looking to combine all three of those. Why not? Point is, I started with the stock market and I'm still in the stock market. It's been such a journey and I've learned so much, but I don't want to be a one-trick pony. So I'm transitioning into being an entrepreneur and having other assets that aren't real estate, but that are surely assets. And this is just slowly, nothing great happens overnight. To find your passion, you have to put yourself into uncomfortable situations and show courage by trying new things. Life's never going to be easy. You might as well try and figure out what your potential is. Because what can you become? Ask yourself, what can you become? What is my potential? You have limited beliefs, and I have limiting beliefs. We have to get rid of those because they do us no good. They keep us comfortable, and being comfortable, Yeah, you're comfortable, but the mind, you become imprisoned by your mind when you just sit in comfortability. And that's why people are rude to their quote unquote loved ones. What do you mean? How are toxic relationships possible? Because it's two people who've gotten comfortable and they don't know how to appreciate the simplest things. They don't know how to have a proper, positive, caring, receptive, abundant attitude. And I am not saying my life's perfect. My life is not perfect, but it's a work in progress. And we're so much better off to be in progress from our previous self, noticing we're getting better, than to just sit in comfort and be stuck in the prison of your mind. That is no good. It's not going to do you anything helpful. So finding your natural interest, it's not going to just fucking pop up at you. That's not how it happens. But surely if you spend some time thinking, undistracted, maybe you put some beats that have no word music on. I preach having wireless things because in my opinion, Bluetooth causes brain cancer, but hey, you look into that yourself. I'm not a scientist. I didn't do studies on that. That's just what I am biased towards. I think Bluetooth causes brain cancer. So toss on those wireless headphones and play some music without words and do some box breathing maybe where you follow an object. When you're breathing in for 4 seconds, you follow up the box. Then when you're holding, you follow to the right. And then when you're breathing out, which should be a little stronger of a breath and a little longer than your inhale, you follow down. And then you wait and you follow to the left. And just that simple aspect of letting your thoughts flow, you're occupying your mind and your breath, and you're also using your hearing to listen to these nice, calming sounds, no words. Doing that is going to give you the opportunity to let thoughts just naturally flow. And when we let those thoughts flow, you're going to have these amazing thoughts. I wish I had a better word, but hey, I got to work on my vocabulary as well. It's always areas to improve. And listen, it's a balance. I'd say one of my biggest weaknesses is being too rough on myself. Not saying, hey, Justin, you're doing good, man. That's, it's important to know your strengths and to be aware of your weaknesses and to be aware of the areas that need attention. But really, it's embracing what you don't know, being curious about the potential you have, and knowing that by working, by learning, by striving to be the best in comparison to our previous self, we can change the world. It just takes consistency, perseverance, and it's a continuous journey. It's never going to be easy, but with effort and persistence, that is what it's about. We have to appreciate the simplest things. Find what you're intrigued by and build and work through what has intrigued you. But if this has been of any value to you, do me one favor, because this is the fee. I put effort into this, so I charge a fee. What's the fee? Find one person who is open to learning, interested in being better. Share this with them, please. And I really appreciate it, because this effort, I don't want it to be wasted. I want people to be able to learn and grow and figure out that they are not alone. We're all together, all of humanity. Like I said, we have differences, but we have so many similarities. So figure out the ways, what you need to do, and trust that with effort and the continuous pursuit of being better, everything you need, all your dreams will come true. You gotta put the actions, you have to put in the work, but you also have to trust that with the actions, with the work, with the persistence, it'll all pan out. So, Make it your mission to be kind, to help others, to brighten the atmosphere around you, and to live on a higher frequency. Be that person, that sunshine for someone, okay? Enjoy yourselves. Talk soon.